right, I want to tell you how I got my superpowers through fatherhood.
I want to tell you how I got my superpower through fatherhood. Through fatherhood.
Um, I was working a job I hated, okay? And I don't know
I was working a job I hated,
if anyone here ever worked a job. All right, I want to tell you how I got my superpowers through fatherhood. Um, I was working a job I hated, okay? And I don't know if anyone here ever worked a job they hated. Has anyone here ever?
I was working a job I hated, okay, and I don't know if anyone here ever worked a job they hated. Has anyone here ever worked a job they hated?
Okay, good, because I'm not alone and I have something to confess and I don't want you guys to judge me.
Okay, good. I'm not alone and I have something to confess. I don't want you guys to judge me.
It's like a safe space. It's a safe
This feels like a safe place.
space. Okay, good. Okay, I was working the job I hated.
I was working a job I hated.
My manager and I were not getting along, okay?
My manager and I were not getting along, okay?
I was sitting in my car, looking in the rearview mirror, trying to figure out which
I was sitting in my car, looking in the rearview mirror,
friend I could call to call in a bomb threat so I didn't have to go back in the building.
trying to figure out which friend I would call to call in a bomb threat. Trying to figure out which friend I could call to call in a bomb threat. I could call to call in a bomb threat. So I didn't have to go back in the building.
Okay, this was having a lot of issues for me. I was having a lot of issues at my job, and
This was having a lot of issues for me. I was having a lot of issues at my job.
home every day from work, and my wife would ask me the same question.
I did come home every day from work, and my wife would ask me the same question.
And when you hate your job, this is the worst question anyone could ask you.
And when you hate your job, this is the worst question anyone could ask you.
She'd say, "Hey babe, how was your day?"
Hey babe, how was your day?
And I'd say, "Are you bringing up old stuff?"
Are you bringing up all the stuff? Why are you bringing up all the stuff?
I just left there. I don't want to think about that place again.
I just left it. I just left it. I don't want to think about the place again.
See, we were spending about 40% of my income on childcare. We
See, you're spending about 40% of my income on childcare.
had one child,
We had one child,
and we were pregnant with our second child.
and we were pregnant with our second child,
And we were trying to figure out how we were going to fix this whole thing of this
and we were trying to figure out how we were gonna fix this whole thing.
money situation. And she said, "Hey babe, I got a great idea."
I got a great idea.
I said, "What's up?" She said, "I think you'd be a great stay-at-home dad."
I think you'd be a great stay-home dad.
I was like, "Why would you say something like that?"
Why would you say something like that?
She said, "Because babies like you."
Because babies like you.
I was like, "No, they don't." She was like, "No, they do like you." And
I was like, they don't. She's like, no, they don't.
I think it would be great for our children to see what love looks like coming from a father.
I think it's great for children to see love coming from his father. I think it would be great for children to see what love looks like coming from his father.
I was like, "Okay." So I had issues with this because I haven't seen a lot of stay-at-home dads before, and
I had an issue with this because I haven't seen a lot of the stay-home dads before.
I thought men would judge me. So get this, I said this. Please
And I thought men would judge me, so get this. I said this.
don't be offended. I said this. I said,
Please don't be offended. I said,
That sounds boring.
That sounds boring.
And what do stay-at-home moms do all day anyway?
What do stay-at-home mom dads do all day anyway?
She smiled at me, a smile only a woman full of knowledge can smile.
She smiled at me a smile and a smile. She smiled at me a smile only a woman full of knowledge can smile.
And said, well, since this should be easy for you,
It said, well, this should be easy for you,
and it will save us some money, it seems like a no-brainer.
and it'll save us some money. It seems like a no-brainer.
Fast forward 6 months, I'd been a stay-at-home dad for about a week.
Fast forward 6 months. I'd been a stay-at-home dad for about a week. Fast forward 6 months.
I was standing in my bathroom,
I was standing in my bathroom,
looking into the mirror,
looking into the mirror,
crying, tears running all down my face.
running all down my face.
My 1.5-year-old was banging on a bathroom door
My 1.5-year-old was banging on the bathroom door.
because I locked him out,
Cause I locked him out, Locked him out,
Crying, tears running down his face. And my newborn was in the bassinet crying, tears running down his face.
And my newborn was in the bassinet crying, tears running down his face.
I looked at myself in the mirror and I said,
I looked at myself in the mirror. I said,
which one of your friends can you call? I'm calling a bomb threat, man. We gotta get out of here.
which friend can you call it a bomb threat? We gotta get out of here.
See, I had traded my manager for my children. I didn't know.
I traded my manager for my trade my manager for my children.
What I got myself into. I thought I knew everything about being a stay-at-home parent, and in fact, I knew nothing at all.
I didn't know what I got myself into. I thought I knew everything about being a stay-at-home parent. In fact, I knew nothing at all.
Because even though my manager was at least my children were a lot cuter than my manager, they were just as demanding.
Because even though my manager was, well, at least my children were a lot cuter than my manager. They were just as demanding.
Wipe my butt. Wipe my butt.
Why my butt?
Wipe my butt.
What had I gotten myself into? I thought I knew everything about being a stay-at-home parent. In fact, I knew nothing. I thought that all I had to do was feed them, change their diapers, and they'd be fine.
What I had gotten myself into, I thought I knew everything about being a stay-at-home parent, and in fact I knew nothing. I thought that all I had to do was feed them, change their diapers, and they'd be fine.
Like, I really thought that's it. Sesame Street on TV, keep
I really thought that that's it.
them distracted. Applesauce in a bowl, milk in a bottle, they'd be fine.
Sesame Street on TV, keep them distracted. Applesauce in a bottle, milk in a bottle, they'd be fine.
But if you leave children alone,
But if you leave children alone,
they'll get into just a little bit of mischief.
they'll get in just a little bit of a mischief.
Hi.
Where is the powder?
I don't know.
Well, where did you put it? Where did it?
Oh.
Who did it?
No, you did it. No, you did it. No, you did it. No, you did it.
You know what else I thought I knew about being a stay-at-home parent?
You know what else do I know about staying a stay-at-home parent? You know what else I thought I knew about being a stay-at-home parent?
I thought that all I had to do was take them to the park once a week. Because if I
I thought that all I had to do was take them to the park once a week.
took them to the park once a week, they'd be fine.
because I thought because if I took them to the park once a week, they'll be fine.
In fact, I knew nothing at all.
In fact, I knew nothing at all.
Okay? If you take kids to the park every day, then that means they get dirty every day.
If you take your kids to park every day, that means they get dirty every day.
They got dirty every day, they need baths every day.
They get dirty every day. They need baths every day.
If they got baths every day, I just don't think you understand. See, having two
If they got baths every day, I just don't think you understand.
kids under 2, you end up changing over 20 dirty diapers a day.
If having 2 kids under 2, you end up changing over 20 diapers a day. Okay.
Okay? And if you give them a bath, that's just more nakedness.
And if you give them a bath, that's just more nakedness.
And a higher probability of getting peed on. And no one likes getting peed on.
And higher probability of getting getting peed on, and no one likes getting peed on,
Even if it's from a baby.
even if it's from a baby.
But I read this article by Father Lee, which cites a survey done by two detergent companies, OMO
But I read this article by Father Lee, which cites a survey done by 2 different detergent companies, Omo and Persil.
and Persils. And they did this study, and it said that at 2 hours a day,
And they did the study, and I said that at 2 hours a day,
prisoners get more outside time than children.
prisoners get more outside time than children.
That convicted me. And so we went out.
That convicted me, and so we went out.
Outside. See, I knew nothing about being a stay-at-home parent, and once I
See, I knew nothing about being a stay-at-home parent.
embraced the fact that I knew nothing, I began
And once I embraced the fact that I knew nothing,
to learn from my new managers.
I began to learn from my new manager.
And I always was told that as a stay-at-home parent,
And I was always told as a stay-at-home parent,
you get no sleep. Or as a
you get no sleep.
parent in general, you get no sleep. But that's
Or as a parent in general, you get no sleep.
not true, because if you sleep when they do,
But that's not true, because if you sleep when they do,
you actually can get some sleep.
you actually can get some sleep.
You know what else I thought as a stay-at-home parent?
You know what else I thought about a stay-at-home parent? You know what else I thought as a stay-at-home parent?
I thought I knew that the best way to teach kids right from wrong was to discipline them, because
I thought I knew that the best way to teach kids right from wrong, was discipline them.
that would make sure they understood right from wrong. The pain,
That would make sure they understood right from wrong.
the fear, that would teach them. But
The pain, the fear, they would teach them.
the truth is, the best way for me to teach my children right from wrong is to teach them. Take out a whiteboard and draw
But the truth is, the best way to teach my children right from wrong is to teach them.
pictures and make connections that they can understand.
Take out a whiteboard and draw pictures and make connections that they can understand.
That was the best way.
That was the best way.
A lot of these images you're seeing are coming from my YouTube channel, Belief from Fatherhood. I document the misadventures of being a stay-at-home dad. And it's
A lot of these images you're seeing are coming from my YouTube channel, Belief in Fatherhood. I document the misadventures of being a stay-at-home dad.
it's not perfect. It's just showing
It's not perfect. It's just showing
that I'm trying, and I'm not trying to be an example, but just proof
I'm not trying to be an example,
that it's possible for whoever else is doing this.
but just prove that it's possible for whoever else doing this.
You know what I also knew about being a stay-at-home parent? I knew that children needed love, but I just didn't know what love looked like.
You know what I also knew about being a stay-at-home parent? I knew that children needed love, but I just don't know what love looked like.
It turns out putting diapers on your head and play fighting until the kids fall asleep is a great way to love your kids.
It turns out putting diapers on your head and play fighting until the kids fall asleep is a great way to love your kids.
So I was learning a lot, but it's not all fun and boogers, is it?
But I was learning a lot, but it's not all fun and boogers, is it?
I asked a group of stay-at-home parents what's the hardest thing, the thing they underestimated most about being stay-at-home parents, and they said that the loneliness.
I asked a lot of stay-at-home parents, what's the worst thing about playing that role? I asked a group of stay-at-home parents, what's the hardest thing, the thing they underestimated most about being stay-at-home parents, and they said that the loneliness was one of those things.
Was one of those things. Not having someone else to talk to, feeling
Not having someone else to talk to.
inadequate, feeling selfish for wanting me time.
Feeling inadequate, feeling selfishness for wanting me time.
And nursery rhymes
And nursery rhymes
suck.
suck.
Like really, Mary Had a Little Lamb is cool the first couple times, but
Like really, Mary Had a Little Lamb is cool the first couple of times, but
after all these years on repeat, you wonder why Mary just ain't make herself a wool skirt and have lamb chops. You know what I'm saying?
after all these years on repeat, you wonder why Mary just ain't make herself a wool skirt and have lamb chops. You know what I'm saying?
The one thing I underestimated most was the emotional fatigue. See, I was an artist, so I'd write songs for other artists because that's how I made money from home.
The one thing I underestimated most was the emotional fatigue. See, I was an artist, so I'd write songs for other artists because that's how I made money from home.
But when you're with your kids all day, you become emotionally tired.
But when you're with your kids all day, you become emotionally tired.
And that means all your creativity comes from your emotions, so you're just tapped out, you're done.
That means all your creativity comes from your emotions, so you're just tapped out.
So you become done
So you become done
with time,
with time.
nap time, timetables, time out, time. Like to cook with all types of time, you're just done.
Nap time, timetables, time out, time like to cook. With all types of time, you're just done.
You had no time for anything. And some
You have no time for anything.
people are done with their spouse as a stay-at-home.
And some people are done with their spouse as a stay-at-home parent
Because the spouse just doesn't get it.
because the spouse doesn't get it.
I was talking to a friend of mine. He said, man, I come home from work, drawers are open, clothes hanging outside the drawers, the kids are still in their pajamas. And it can't be that hard to have dinner ready when I get home, right?
Because I was talking to a friend of mine. He said, "Man, I can't come home from work. Drawers are open, clothes hanging outside the drawers. The kids are still in their pajamas, and it can't be that hard to have dinner ready when I get home. It can't be that hard to have dinner."
Started to freak out, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I start to freak out. You know what I'm saying?
he was trying to confide in me.
He was trying to confide in me.
I said, you have no idea what you're talking about.
He had no idea what you're talking about.
She wakes up every morning tired from the night before, baby attached to her breast, dropping this kid off at school and taking this one to the park. Laundry piles up to the sky. She has a conversation on the phone for an hour with your mom about God knows what. Takes the dog you wanted for a walk.
She wakes up every morning tired from the night before, baby attached to her breast, dropping this kid off at school and taking this one to the park. Laundry piles up to the skies, and he has a conversation on the phone for an hour with your mom, and God knows what. Takes the dog you wanted for a walk.
And nobody died, bro. She kept your kids alive all day. Hey, that's hard.
Nobody died, bro. She kept your kids alive all day. That's hard.
I have become an advocate for stay-at-home parents.
I have become an advocate for stay-home parents.
Why? Because finally I was standing in their shoes.
Because I finally was standing in their shoes. It's standing in their shoes.
Because when you're standing in someone else's shoes, you
Because if you stand in someone else's shoes,
see the world from a different perspective.
you see the world from a different perspective.
And when you start to take steps, it feels like baby steps, wobbling.
And when you start to take steps, it feels like baby steps, wobbling.
But then they turn into stomps.
But then they turn into stops.
And you start making
Stomps.
footprints for the next generation to walk in.
And you start making footprints for the next generation to walk in.
See, we're walking on a certain path as parents. We're all in this together. No one can deny that
See, we're walking a certain path as parents. We're all in together. No one can deny.
family is one of the biggest foundations in anyone's life.
Family is one of the biggest foundations in anyone's life.
And we're all walking on this path, and we're pulling these thickets out of the way and these thorns.
And we're all walking on this path and pull this thickest out of the way and these thorns,
Making it easier for the ones coming after us. It turns out parenting has a lot more to do with landscaping.
making it easier for the ones coming after us. It turns out parenting has a lot more to do with landscaping
And learning more than teaching. And the best thing to do is to show up for class.
and the best thing to do is to show up for class.
Be present is what I learned
Be present is what I learned,
as a stay-at-home dad. And let your presence be a gift.
and let the presence be a gift.
This was me coming home from tour one day.
This was me coming home from tour one day.
I thought that the father was supposed to pursue the child.
I thought the father was supposed to pursue the child,
But it turns out the father makes himself present.
but it turns out that the father makes himself present,
And the children run after him.
and the children run after him.
And that right there is a superpower.
And that right there is a superpower.
And that right there, my friends, is everything. Thank you.